What is going on, guys? We are back with another video today, and I know you're probably expecting a rebuild today, but we did a 49ers 10-year sim rebuild yesterday, and, if you didn't check that out, check it out now, and I completely forgot how long those videos take, but yeah, that took me just about the same amount of time as a rebuild, maybe 20 minutes less, which is, yeah, it was quite long, so we'll probably do another one tomorrow, an actual rebuild tomorrow of the Patriots, perhaps, and yeah, right now we're going to be doing a video on the Packers, not the schedule, but their opponents. I know tonight the actual schedule releases, and in the comment section, if I think anything will change based on when a team is being played, I suppose I'll mention that in the comment section, which, speaking of, I've been neglecting a little bit lately. There's just been so many people commenting, and sometimes I get overwhelmed. I was behind on one video, on one of the videos' comment section, and I just completely forgot. I think I'm behind on like 3 of them, so I'm going to go look through some of those soon and respond to some of them. I might just start responding to the ones that are actually super unique and maybe just liking some of the other ones. I'll read them all, but responding to all of them is getting a little bit tough lately, but we do have the opponents, and right now, first glance, I'm not super happy because this is a very, very tough-looking schedule. We don't know exactly when teams are being played, but we know where they're being played, and that's kind of the main issue, The actual schedule matters, but I would say 5%, maybe, 5% mattering here. Whereas I already know how tough some of these matchups are going to be. I don't think seeing the Niners on this list, if we play them week 5 after a bye, is going to change much from week 11. Both games we're going to lose. It might be a little closer because of, certain situations, but we're still going to lose. So for the home games, of course, you have the division rivals, which I imagine for the home and away, you're going to see at least within 4 games, there'll be a 2-game stretch for division rivals. As usual, usually the Packers finish like 3 division games at the end of the year. But if we're going to look at, I'm looking across the board here, I think the Packers take both games. The Lions, I know the Packers have been struggling with them lately. I like what the Lions did in free agency and the draft, but I think, maybe not at the free agency so much, the draft more like, because in free agency I think they made a couple of iffy mistakes. I think Vitae was that's a something. But I think the Packers can sweep the Lions. Oh, that's tough. There's just something about the Packers against the Lions. Things go bad, We had the punt. It wasn't last year. It was the year before. There was a punt. The Packers never touched the ball, and of course the referees ruled it as a turnover, and the Lions literally got a free touchdown. We lost that game by like 1, and that was the game, I think, that Crosby missed like 4 field goals, which he like never does. So, things just go wrong against the Lions, even though Lions fans like to cry about the refs all the time. I guess that's the only reason why they've been bad in, several decades. Sorry, Lions fans, but, stop crying. Vikings, this is a tougher one. No Diggs, but they do have Justin Jefferson now. I expect them to be a little bit easier to stop in the pass game. I think their defense got a decent bit worse, in my opinion, because they lost Everson Griffin, right? I think they lost Everson Griffin. Ooh, but they did get in Michael Pierce. Yeah, their D-line's not much worse, to be honest. It's pretty, you lose one guy that's solid, you gain one guy that's solid. Their draft was really good. Yeah, I would still say the Vikings are overall improved from last year, so definitely a split situation. I know the Packers swept them last year, but I think this will be a split situation. And I for some reason, I hope it doesn't happen. I don't think it's going to be against the Vikings, but it could be a game against the Vikings. But I just feel like Rodgers is going to get injured for like a 3 to 4 week span, and Jordan Love is going to have to play. I don't know where that fits into any of this, but I just think it's going to happen. I don't know why. I just think so. And then you have another home game. No more division rivals. We mentioned all that. So basically, if all of this was played in a row, I would say the Packers are 5-1 at this point, which is something. The Falcons, they're just like a shell of themselves. However, that offense can really destroy you. I don't remember even the last time the Packers played the Falcons. Was it actually the playoffs? The year that the Falcons completely choked it against the Patriots. No, it wasn't. the Packers beat the Falcons in that trash year we had a year ago. Yeah, I just don't remember that because I barely paid attention to that season once we just choked it away. But the Falcons, I think, is a team the Packers can easily beat. So 6-1. Then the Saints, quite possibly the most complete team in the entire league. I'll say 6-2. The Packers are not going to win that game, especially playing in New Orleans. Then we have home against the Panthers. The Panthers, they're just not the team anymore. Like, with or without Cam, Teddy Bridgewater, fair enough. I don't know if I would have went to them if I was him, but then again, you look at the teams around the league, how many of them were actually needing a QB of his caliber. Obviously, tons of franchise quarterback needs around the league. However, a guy like Teddy who just seems average, maybe it's slight bit above average, I don't think many teams were looking for that. Then you have the Buccaneers in Tampa. Whether we win or lose, this should be a very fun game to watch. This is going to be, I would assume this game will be pushed pretty late into the season because we do get that extra Tom Brady-Aaron Rodgers matchup. I don't think if Tom Brady stayed in New England that we would have ever seen that ever again other than the Super Bowl. So here, quite possibly a chance at 2 this season, Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers matchups. And with both teams, I know the Packers on paper looking better on defense than the Buccaneers by quite a bit. It's still a good matchup that you could easily see a maybe 38-35 score. That Buccaneers offense is something. The thing is, even with the offseason they had, I don't think their offensive line is still up for the challenge. The Packers might have had one of the most vicious base front pass rushes in the league last year, in my opinion. Obviously, you don't have, don't get me wrong, Za'Darius is insane. You don't have the Aaron Donald type that just completely gapes you up the middle. But Kenny Clark, really good player, going to get a payday. So he's going to be trying hard. Za'Darius, obviously, he was probably the most improved player in the entire league last year. I'm trying to think of a player that was improved more than him, other than maybe like a Lamar Jackson, I suppose, kind of. But defensively, I think Za'Darius was number one by far. And then, Preston's no slouch. The DBs on paper, those corners look great. The safeties look like, a top 3 tandem in the league for the Packers. The Buccaneers will have a little bit harder of a time, but you got to look at that receiving option. The Buccaneers got some receivers, man. And the run game, though, that's the question mark. Of course, with a guy like Tom Brady there, you would think the run game should do better. You got Ronald Jones, who's super fast, even though he's probably not slated as the actual starter, more of a committee style again. And then the Buccaneers, the thing is, the Packers with their new approach with running the ball a ton, it could be a little bit more boring than I would want. I would just want a full slinger battle between Brady and Rodgers. So you could see the Packers control the game a bit with the clock. I think the Packers can win this game against Tampa. The thing is, though, if you know anything about the Packers and the Buccaneers, the Packers find a way to lose to the Buccaneers all the time. I don't know what it is. There's so many times where the Packers have a good season, they lose to the Buccaneers who are having a bad season. I don't know how. It's just, that's our kryptonite. The Niners, we'll talk about that in a moment. Then you have Jacksonville. That should be on paper super easy of a matchup. So what do we? Let's redo this. 7-2 right? No, 8-2 right now, which is very high. But then you start getting to the tougher teams. More than 8-2 actually. No, it is 8-2. Never mind. Then you have the Texans. No more DeAndre Hopkins. That instantly drops down quite a bit. I know they gained some receivers, but none of them even close to as impactful as DeAndre. I've seen someone saying that Brandon Cooks is way better than than DeAndre. I was like, oh, okay, dude, good one there. But there's a bit of speed there in Houston. I will say a little bit of speed there. I still think the Packers will win. The defense not super complete for Houston at all. So I would say the Packers win that one as well, which is what now, 9-2? I really have us going 9-2. Then again, coming up now, we have the Titans, a matchup that I do not think the Packers will win. The run game, not super great for us on defense. Derrick Henry should smoke us. And, of course, the Titans might have the most underrated defense in the entire league, at least going from last year. A lot of young names, a lot of great players. It really just comes down to Tannehill. If Rodgers can completely outplay Tannehill, it might be enough. But once again, on paper, I think the Titans win that matchup. So 9-3, I believe. No, I'm wrong. Where am I missing a team here? Oh, 10-3. So 10-3. Then you have the Colts with Phillip Rivers. Do I believe in that offense enough? Do I believe in that secondary enough from the Colts? I think the Packers win this one as well at 11-3 now. I'm trying to think. I just don't think the Colts have enough offensive firepower. Then again, the Packers really don't either, but I believe in the Packers' run game a ton more. That's the thing. Everyone's always talking about, does Rodgers have enough weapons? I don't think it's even about that. I think it's about, can the offense utilize the weapons? I think Devontae Adams, obviously a top 10 receiver in the league, without a doubt, at least wide receiver. There are some really good tight ends. You add tight ends into the mix. Maybe he drops out of the top 10 receivers, but top 10 wide receivers for sure. Then you have Aaron Jones, who is a pretty damn good dual threat guy. The receiving threat of him kind of disappeared because they just stopped doing it. So you look at those two, you have two probably top 10 dual. I would say Aaron Jones as a dual threat kind of guy, receiving and running. Top 15, okay? Top 10 wide receiver, top 15 running back. You have some up-and-coming young wide receivers. It is a lacking of that, but you do have three solid-looking running backs right now. So the Packers' offense is better than people are giving it credit for. I would like to see another wide receiver. Maybe Funchess is just going to, go back to his prime. What was it, 2015? I want to say, days of the Panthers. If he can have one of his best career seasons, the Packers will be fine at wide receiver, I think. I still would have liked to see something done in the first 3 rounds, but still, I just think they on paper talent the Colts. And then now the Eagles, if they can stay healthy, their receiving group is pretty rough as well, but I like Zach Ertz. Their defense is all right, I suppose. Something tells me the Eagles are just going to win. So the Packers are now at 11-4, I believe. And then, of course, going away against the Niners, not a chance the Packers win that game, 11-5. That one could be a week 15-17 type matchup. It depends on how brutal the NFL wants to be to these two teams, how unfair they want to be, because once again, one of these two teams could miss the playoffs for all we know. Both teams have a division where they could end up being number 2 in their division. And of course, I don't think the extra wildcard game isn't this year, right? It's next year, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's next year. But anyways, we will know the schedule properly tonight. Like I said, there could be some changes. I'll let you know in the comment section. Let me know, though. I think the Packers will go 11-5 this season, which even though it seems a little high because this is a really tough schedule, they have the Packers ranked at like 15 or 16 on paper. But it's very unfair to say that because the Packers go against the Buccaneers, who were terrible on paper last year, at least record-wise. And now you have to go against Gronk and Brady. That team is not as bad as it says it is. Then you have the Colts, who gained Phillip Rivers. That's at least 2 or 3 wins better, right? It has to be, in my opinion. The Falcons, they're slightly better because of Todd Gurley. They also gained someone else. I think they lost Trufant. Who else did they gain? They gained someone else, but a lot of the teams the Packers are playing are definitely improved. I don't think there's a single team on the Packers roster outside of maybe the Jags and Panthers that actually got worse. And the Packers, quote-unquote, got worse because they lost their right tackle, which was, that offensive line was super good last year. It was solid. So if he is a huge piece that we lost, it could be a dire season. But anyways, this is my analysis of the Packers' 2020 schedule, opponents, which, once again, is the pretty big importance. I know the schedule drop is so good and all that, but realistically for me as a fan, the opponents are all I need. If it didn't tell me the away and home, fair enough, but it tells me the away and home. That's all I need to know. There's, like I said, it's going to barely change for me. Anyways, if you guys like this video, maybe leave a like, subscribe if you're new, follow me on Twitter, Jeromepkr, run a little behind on videos. Hopefully they'll be up in time. but we will have a Flyers video a little bit later today, and then tomorrow some sort of rebuild. Let me know what team. I have not recorded it yet, so let me know, and I will get on those comments, I promise. At least, maybe I'll forget the other videos, but I'll at least get today's videos commented and replied, so don't you worry about it. Check me out on Twitter. Maybe you guys will get more responses if you go there, because I do respond quite often to people on Twitter unless they're trying to troll the hell out of me. But even then, sometimes I'll be a good sport. I'll take it, you know? But anyways, like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you come back for next video. But until next video, also let me know in the comment section what do you think is going to happen and how well your team's going to do. See ya!